Please once more give rise to bodhicitta, listen with bodhicitta. When the teacher's words enter your heart, it's like you have a treasure in the palm of your hand. Then Nagarjuna says, one who tumbles from a lofty peak may think I must not fall, but fall he will. One to whom a teacher has kindly given the beneficial transmission may think I don't want to be set free, but he will still be freed. So this just shows how incredibly precious and powerful the Guru is. Once you've met the Guru and received the instructions from him, even if you think I will not attain liberation, I do not want to be liberated, you will be liberated, just like once you've fallen into a surging river, you'll be carried away powerlessly on its currents. Samsara will come to an end once you've met the Guru and the instructions. This is the inevitable consequence once you've met a Guru and received instructions. Just like when you fall off a cliff, there's only one possible outcome, that's falling down and hitting the ground. You might think, I will not fall, I do not want to fall, but gravity is going to pull you down. So likewise, once you receive the account of the teacher, receive their blessings, their teachings, even if you think, I don't want to leave samsara, well, samsara will come to an end for you. This is the power of being taken in by a virtuous spiritual friend. Even if you don't attain enlightenment straight away, you'll be guaranteed a positive rebirth in your future life. Such are the qualities of a virtuous spiritual friend. Virtuous spiritual friend means a qualified virtuous spiritual friend, right? Who teaches their students what is correct, incorrect, what is virtue, non-virtue, how to accomplish virtue, how to shun non-virtue. That's what someone who does that, who shares these vital points with their students, they are a qualified virtuous spiritual friend. And if, as from the student side, if one learns these points and puts them into practice, then one's meeting a virtuous spiritual friend has become meaningful, has become worthwhile. So once you've connected with the blessings of the Guru, then you'll be carried away by those blessings. But to connect with the blessings of the Guru, from our own side, we need to be worthy recipients, right? We need to be fit vessels. To make ourselves fit vessels, and we need to train ourselves in accumulation, in purification, in supplicating the Guru at all times, when circumambulating, making prostrations, making offerings. We need to pay homage to the teacher, supplicate them constantly, and then the blessings of the Guru can enter us. We can slowly open up, we can open up so that the Guru's blessings can enter us. So like from my own Dharma siblings, from one's own Dharma siblings, you'll see that there are a lot of, you might have a whole group of you who've all received the same teachings from the same teacher, who've all been there at the feet of the Guru receiving the same teachings, but some students just haven't got it. Some of one's Dharma siblings just haven't really got it. They haven't really benefited or changed. They didn't have the same experience and perception that one had. So where do these differences come from? They come from accumulation and purification, whether one has performed enough accumulation and purification or not, right? Let's take an example. Even if the sun's shining, without the linking condition of a magnifying glass, it's impossible for the tinder to catch fire. So in olden times, even when I was young, this is how we would make fire, with a magnifying glass. So intensifying the power of the sun's rays into a single beam with this magnifying glass, so that we could spark a fire. So, in short, without there being a condition to trigger, a condition to spark a fire, just having the sun in the sky and dry grass on the ground isn't enough to spark a fire, right? That's it. Yeah. Isn't enough to spark a fire. You need some special condition to act as the trigger, the catalyst. Like, look at Degyo Rinpoche, the first Degyo Rinpoche. He practiced so intently in such austere conditions that he became so thin that, like I said, the sun could pass right through the skin of the palms of his hands. He became that thin. So that was then the condition for his being able to realize instantaneously, receive the transmission of blessings instantaneously the moment he met Chartam Dzogchen Rinpa, right? So we can see this same principle at play, same principle at work in the life stories of our other masters as well. It's when the accumulation of merit and the purification of obscurations have been accomplished, been performed to a significant extent, that then we can see one becomes open or ready to receive the blessings. And as it said at the outset, one needs to be expert in examining the Guru. So first of all, for say up to 3 years, we should examine the teacher. What is the teacher like? What qualities do they have of body, speech, and mind? How involved are they in worldly affairs? Do I think this teacher can really benefit me or not? Do you think we can... is this teacher really going to benefit me or not? Only having examined well should one enter a relationship with a teacher. Once you've entered with the teacher, then, the relationship is established, and you need to honor that relationship. Once you've made a relationship, formed a connection with a teacher, by having received empowerments, transmissions, and instructions from them, then you're like a cow with a ring in its nose. And who holds the rope tied to that ring? The teacher. So, hence it's important to be skilled at examining the teacher in the outset, skilled in following in the meantime, skilled in emulating at the end. There are stories from the past of ordinary disciples so accomplished knowledge holders like Khandri Shitsogya reveal the So when Guru Rinpoche gathered together Khandri Shitsogya and the 25 heart disciples, and he displayed to all of them the Mandala Vajrakalaya vividly in space before them, then he said to them, now make 3 prostrations. And they all stood up. The 25 heart disciples prostrated to the Mandala. It was only Khandri Shitsogya who prostrated to the Guru. Guru Rinpoche said, this is one of the reasons why, because of this auspicious circumstance, Khandri Shitsogya prostrating to Guru Rinpoche, to the Guru, who is the source of the mantra of the Yidam. Her transmission of Vajrakalaya, both Karma and Tema traditions, is regarded as is especially blessed, especially potent and powerful. So that, on the other hand, when the other disciples prostrated to the Yidam Mandala and not to the Guru, who is the source of the Yidam Mandala, the kind of auspiciousness of their connection with that Mandala was damaged somewhat. So the preliminary, this commentary on the preliminary practices by Dzogchen Rinpoche begins with an explanation of how to follow a spiritual friend, right, the route of the path, and that is, as I mentioned before, such an excellent presentation. Excellent to have it's very meaningful to have the explanation of the Guru at the beginning, because the entranceway to the Vajrayana path is empowerment, right? And moreover, these special preliminary practices are the preliminaries for the entire Vajrayana path. And from whom do we receive empowerment? Well, it's from the Guru, right? So it's very meaningful to have the explanation of the Guru at the outset. The Guru is you could say, the source of the entire path. Anyway, this is all to say that the Guru is so incredibly precious and important. The teacher is the embodiment of all Buddhas, the root of blessings, the source of accomplishment, the foundation of activities. The teacher is much kinder than all Buddhas from our own perspective. So in my case, I received a wealth of empowerments, transmissions, and so on. But the teachings that really turned my mind to the Dharma, that really changed and moved me at the outset, that turned my mind to the Dharma, right? Just the 4 Dharmas of Agampopa Monchimbase. Bless me that my mind may turn to the Dharma and so on. So it was Kimbo Daza Rinpoche who really turned my mind to the Dharma, in spite of having received many teachings and transmissions from great masters. So prior to meeting Kimbo Daza Rinpoche in my late teens, I really didn't have a real sense of renunciation and disenchantment and real kind of heartfelt faith and so on. Like really from the depths of my heart, uncontrived. Even though I had been recognized as a tulku and all of that. But when I met Kimbo Daza Rinpoche, he really had an impact on me, inspired me with faith in the Dharma. So these days there are great teachers like Sakya Goma, Sangye Nyingpo Rinpoche and so on. So in recent months, these great masters have visited here, Kathmandu, and taught. And thousands of people have gone to meet them and attend their teachings and transmissions. So this shows that so many thousands of people have interest in the Dharma, right? But with interest in the Dharma, we go to receive those teachings and transmissions and what have you. But once you've received those, you actually need to put them into practice, right? You need to follow through by applying yourself in personal practice, daily practice, retreat practice. You need to internalize what you've received. And in this way, we need to turn our mind to the Dharma, our Dharma to the path. And then the path, our practice itself, needs to dispel wisdom, right? This is the third of the 4 Dharmas. So if you stay on retreat, say, some transformation needs to come from your practice in retreat. But these days we find a lot of people who've done many years of retreat, or who are kempos, or have titles, teacher and this and that. But they are not tamed, they're not gentle. They're writhing with emotions. So this is a clear sign that their path has not dispelled their confusion. And so the path we practice needs to dispel our confusion, and then finally our confusion needs to arise as wisdom. Confusion itself needs to transmute into primordial wisdom. Like in Dzogchen Shiradrapa's advice, it says, just as the more wood you have, the greater fire you'll have. The more afflictions you have, the greater wisdom you'll have. For someone who has recognized, right? So this is to say, this speaks to this 4th Dharma of Gampopa, confusion arising as wisdom. So the afflictions transmuting into wisdom. On the other hand, if you stay on retreat for months and years, you do lots of money and Vajraguru accumulation, you maintain the monastic vows, but you remain full of anger, hatred, attachment, ignorance, then nothing worthwhile is going on, right? Nothing's happening. So nothing really beneficial, nothing special is happening with you. Like there are people up in the mountains who have recited millions, tens of millions of Vajraguru mantra, but then you hear about them suing their neighbors, taking their neighbors to court. I mean, that just shows that their practice, that tens of millions of mantras have not touched their mind, have not tamed their mind. The whole point of all practice is to tame our mind, right? We need to develop contentment, reduce our desires. Even if you are a bhikshu, you hold the monastic vows, but you don't develop contentment to reduce your desires, then you're a monk in name only. As Buddha said, those with less desire and with contentment, they belong to the family of noble ones. So if you're a monk, you're a lama, you're what have you, you need to have less emotions, right? You need to be reducing your emotions, otherwise it doesn't matter what title you have. If you still have ordinary anger, desire, pride, then that's just a clear sign that you are not a good teacher, you're not a good lama, you're not a proper lama. So there's this story about someone who was praising their teacher. Was praising their teacher, saying, "My teacher is so affectionate for her. Okay, anyway, the story about, some people might praise their teachers, but because of their own kind of lack of skill, they end up actually, they intend to be praising their teachers, but the qualities they actually highlight just point out the teacher's faults. Like, oh, my teacher has so many consorts. Is that really a good quality? You might say, oh, my teacher's so wonderful, he has so many qualities. My teacher has, so much love for his students and circle. Like, he cares more about them than anyone else. You might say that in praise, but actually, what are you saying? You're saying that your teacher has prejudice. So teachers with these sorts of qualities, those are not good qualities, right? On the other hand, if you hear about someone saying about this or that teacher, this teacher, they're so, they, how do you say, they don't pay attention to students, you offer them some support and they don't give you any acknowledgement. They don't pay, and they're not involved in any projects. They're just not doing anything. This sort of thing. Someone might be actually talking about this or that teacher in this way, criticizing them. But actually, what are they saying? Actually, the qualities that the faults, seeming faults they're pointing out are actually signs of a genuine teacher, right? Like that Western student who was kind of ignored by Duduk Rinpoche, the sponsor, who didn't receive the thanks she was expecting from Duduk Rinpoche, then came out of the room and said, Duduk Rinpoche has no feeling. She was probably saying that out of exasperation, right? Not as a compliment. But actually that is a compliment, right? That just reflects Duduk Rinpoche's own quality, the quality of a great perfection master who has no feelings in the sense of no emotions driven by hope and fear. He's transcended hope and fear, has no ordinary emotions or feelings. So when we talk about a teacher, we need to, in short, we need to be aware of what are the proper qualities of a proper teacher. The teacher is the embodiment of all the Buddhas and so on. The teacher is much kinder than all the Buddhas from our perspective. Our teacher is the dominant condition of the Buddha's activity penetrating us, the link through which we can actually see the Buddha in the absolute body. The teacher's kindness is inconceivable. So they're the link through which we can actually see the Buddha in the absolute body, the Dhammakaya, meaning they're the link through which we can come to see the natural state, the ultimate nature of mind, the intrinsic nature. It's through them that we can reach that point. The teacher's kindness is inconceivable. For this reason, our teacher is definitely superior to all the Buddhas, superior in terms of kindness. We have this quotation from the Sutra of Immaculate Space. Buddha said to Ananda, the Tathagatas are not visible to all beings because of their impure karma, their negative karma, impure perception, but spiritual friends, being fully visible, they are visible to beings. They teach the Dharma and plant the seed of liberation. For this reason, consider the spiritual friend as more important than the Tathagatas. It's like when Buddha said to Ananda towards the end of his life, Ananda, do not weep, do not lament, do not feel sad. In the future, I will continue to appear in this world in the form of spiritual friends. Particularly true here in the mantra vehicle and so on, and it's on account of where all the deities, the mandala embodied in the Diamond Master's body, speech and mind. It's on account of this, that teachers benefit beings. So like when Guru Chukyi was in central Tibet in Sang, there was an Indian Siddha. He'd received a prophecy, your root guru, your destined guru is in Tibet. So he made the long journey to India. And because they had this karmic connection from past lives, when this Indian master received empowerment from Guru Chuang, his destined guru, and at the beginning of empowerment, you have to make an offering, right? Offerings and sock offerings, mantle offerings. So now I can't remember the details of the story, so just hold on. So somehow the detailed memory of the real details of the story have escaped me. I cannot remember them, but if you look in Jigmelimpa's text, you'll find a proper account of the story. So anyway, so all the deities of the manda are embodied in the Guru's body, speech and mind. All of the Yidam deities are present in the Guru's body, speech and mind. So, that being the case, when the Indian student met Guru Chuang was receiving empowerment from him, he arranged vast offerings in request for the empowerment. So at the beginning of the empowerment, offerings must be made to the Yidam deity. So to this end, the student had arranged really vast piles of offerings, all sorts of food. So like 5 or 6 deer skins full of food, all sorts of different food, fruit and cooked food and this and that. These were all arranged by the mandala. And then Guru Chua asked the student, now what do you see? When you look at me, what do you see? He said, I see you as the Yidam deity. Then the Guru said, well, if you see me as the Yidam, then no need for the mandala. And he had the mandala taken down, like the shrine taken down. And so all those offerings that he'd piled up on the mandala were then offered directly to and accepted by Guru Chua. He partook of this inconceivable amount of food and offerings. And he said, if you... Well, my memory of this story is... I'm not remembering this story clearly. I thought to read over it yesterday, but didn't get the time. Anyway, it's a really beautiful story about seeing the Guru as the Yidam and so on. So as I said, he said to the student, when you look at me, what do you see? He says, I see the Yidam deity. He said, in that case, no need for the mandala, for this external mandala. So he had the shrine, the mandala meaning the shrine, taken down. And all the offerings. So anyway, the story goes on, and the story just really emphasizes the importance of the Guru, how everything is embodied in the Guru. The Guru is the Yidam, the Dakini. The Guru is the most important of all. So, anyway, I didn't do a good job of telling that story, but the point of the story is exactly that the Guru embodies the entire mandala, the Yidams, the Dakinis, everything. And the Guru is the most important and precious of all. That's the point. So, this being the case, if we disrespectfully scorn them or respectfully make offerings to them, we'll be doing the same to all the infinite deities of the mandalas. We'll be either disrespecting all the deities or respecting them. Therefore, the benefits and dangers are both much greater than in other vehicles. If you show contempt for the gurus, for the teachers, you're showing contempt for the Buddhas. The Buddha was the basis of emanation, or the source and wellspring of all teachers to appear in the future. So these are the words of Buddha. He says, therefore, since they are all emanations of the Buddha, to show disrespect for the teachers is to show disrespect for the Buddha. Pleasing such a teacher will purify the obscurations of past deeds in their minds. Now we're on page 238. Whether our teachers present in person are ordinary beings or Buddha's own bodhisattvas, if we can praise them, considering them as the Buddha without perception, then there's no difference between them and the Buddha, Bodhisattva, or Yidam deity in person, because the source of blessings is devotion. The source of blessings is devotion. As Suchin Shakajune said, so he manifested as the glorious So Sojin Shakyajune, he commissioned a statue of the Palchen, the great Haruka, wrathful deity. But no matter how much the sculptor worked on it, no matter how many changes Sojin had the sculptor make, it just was not satisfactory. Sojin just couldn't explain, just couldn't get the sculptor to make it according to his vision. Then the process went on and on of trying to improve the statue, making adjustments here and there. And then one day, Sojin just said to the sculptor, look, make the statue look like this. And he himself just manifested the form of the deity, Palchen. And the sculptor was amazed. And after this, it was like the sculptor just wasn't getting it right, so almost out of desperation, Sojin just manifested Palchen himself to show it to the sculptor. And the sculptor was just overwhelmed by the sight of the deity and passed out. Just couldn't bear to look upon the face of this glorious deity. It was overwhelming, and so he passed out. And so then the statue was made to Sojin's satisfaction after that. And when Sojin passed away, he dissolved himself into that statue. And the statue this became an amazingly blessed statue. So seeing that statue, even after Sojin had passed away, was like seeing Sojin himself. He had dissolved his own wisdom into that statue. So the yidam is the guru. The guru is the yidam. There isn't really a difference between the guru and the yidam. Anyway, it seems later on that statue of Sojin was destroyed during the troubles. So there's absolutely no difference between them, the guru, and the yidam deity. Whatever profound practice we're undertaking, we should begin by making the teacher's blessings the path. There's no more to it than that. Until the teacher's blessings enter us, the generation stage or whatever we're meditating on will not really develop. The strength of our practice will not develop. So as it says, as long as we've not received the blessings, we'll not be genuinely on the path. If disciples who keep the commitments give themselves wholeheartedly with devotion to an authentic master, they'll attain the supreme and common accomplishments, even if they have no other message. So merely by the strength of devotion. Strength of devotion and maintaining the commitments with their guru. But without devotion to the teacher, even if you practice all 6 tantra sections, Kriya, Upa, Yoga, Maha, Anu, Ati, these 6 tantra sections, and you practice approach, accomplishment, great accomplishment, and so on, even if you do all those practices, you'll never obtain the supreme accomplishment if you lack devotion to the teacher. The supreme accomplishment, supreme siddhi, will not be attained. Common siddhis, yes, clairvoyance, higher perceptions, miraculous powers, sure, they can be attained, but they're not of great benefit, are they? There are some people who, when they do prayers and pujas for people, they can really bring about some benefit, right? Some mundane benefit. Like they really seem to have some power. So those shows that they have some sort of common siddhi, but there's no long-term benefit to long-term siddhis. Those very same people. There's no long-term benefit to common siddhis. Those very same people could well take rebirth in the lower realms after death. Anyway, these days there's not much need for common siddhis. You don't need to learn how to fly. You can just get in an aeroplane. Right? No need for clairvoyance much anymore. Because you can just use your phone to call the other side of the world and find out what's going on. That's enough, right? So these common siddhis, common accomplishments, well, it's a bit like these days We have the world is becoming very wealthy, right? But the more we have, the more we want, and it just causes suffering, right? Like people in the wealthiest countries, there's more higher percentage of people in taking their lives in wealthy countries than in poor countries. So like we used to have 2G, but we weren't satisfied with that. Now then we have 3G, then 4G, and we're still not satisfied. So maybe common cities are similar to that. So ordinary accomplishments like long life, wealth, bringing beings under one's power. Well, there's only so much we need, right? No matter, even if we have loads of wealth, we can only use so much of it. Once our belly is full, we have a comfortable place to sleep and enough clothes to keep us warm. Like what? All the rest of our wealth, it's of no use to us, right? You know, look at these really rich people who own like entire valleys. They can't use all of it. It's really of no benefit to them. All their assets, property, money. Sooner or later they die, and then they're burnt on the banks of, cremated on the banks of Pashupatinath along with everyone else. What could you do? You could, if you had lots of money, you could buy lots of gold jewelry and clothes of pure brocade. But those things are just going to weigh you down. You can pile on layers and layers of them, but what's the result? The result is it's so heavy you can't even stand up. There's no benefit, right? Once you've fulfilled your basic needs, then surplus wealth is absolutely useless. So just in the same way as surplus wealth is no great benefit to us, these common cities, right, which accomplish wealth and other mundane things, they're really of no real benefit. Bringing beings under one's power, likewise, say you gather like 1,000 students or 10,000 students and patrons and followers and admirers. Well, when you die, you can't take any of them with you. So even like the leader of a great army, they can't take any of those soldiers with them, right? Famous Lama can't take any of their students with them. Not a single monk. So we tell ourselves that, there's something, significant and meaningful about these accomplishments. But there's really nothing significant there. Even if you manage to achieve a little, as it says, a little of these ordinary accomplishments, mundane accomplishments, it will have necessitated a lot of hardship and will have nothing to do with the profound path. On the other hand, if and when you attain the common accomplishment, meaning genuine realization, then as a side effect to that when you attain the supreme accomplishment, genuine realization, as a side effect of that, you will automatically attain the common accomplishments. And because you are already endowed with the supreme accomplishment, supreme realization, those common accomplishments, clairvoyance and miraculous powers, will be beneficial. They can be used to altruistic ends, right, to benefit beings. Like you see with Guru Rinpoche, right, the way he made beneficial use of his powers. Like bringing the king of Nagas under his control when needing wealth, bringing the king of Nagas under his sway, and then having all the Nagas offer him huge amounts of wealth from their underrealm, and then using that wealth to build Samye, the great Samye temple, which is a source of so much benefit, right? So in Tantang Gyalpo's Yangkok, the summoning of good luck, he says, he speaks about the power of uttering the truth. So once you to To translate loosely, once you've attained realization, then whatever prayer is made, it will be fulfilled. May it be fulfilled. So it seems that's how it is. Once you attain the supreme city, once you attain realization, high levels of realization, then one's prayers, through the power of one's accomplishment, one's prayers can be fulfilled. And likewise, by making use of one's common cities, then whatever is needed to accomplish the benefit of others, like mundane wealth or influence or what is it, that can all be effortlessly accomplished. Otherwise, lacking the common city, lacking realization, to have mundane cities or to have likewise mundane wealth, it's actually a source of more suffering than more happiness. Think of, look at the wealthy people we know, we hear about. They're slaves to their wealth, right? Slaves to their wealth, to their success. They're so busy maintaining their wealth, protecting it, maintaining it, increasing it, running around night and day. Like the Naga kings who have naturally have crowns of jewels. They have crowns on their heads. The more kind of powerful they are, the greater the jewel. But these jewels are actually very heavy and uncomfortable, actually cause them a lot of suffering. So it's the same in our world, right? Wealth is a source of more personal strife than joy. When unmistaken devotion takes birth in us, obstacles on the path will be dispelled and we'll make progress, obtaining all the supreme and ordinary accomplishments without depending on anything else. This is what we mean by the profound path of Guru Yoga. It's through the blessings that the blessings enter us, through the Guru, the blessings enter us, through the Guru, the common and the supreme accomplishments are attained. Through the Guru, obstacles are dispelled, progress is made, experience and realization is increased, enhanced. All of this comes from the Guru. And there are stories we could tell to illustrate each of these points, but anyway, we just do not have the time.
Tata ngarang zo sheju te lama te hidam gungon gonanda lama country ngol gonanda lama khorong ngol gomnanda chidang ge country ji gomnanda rang lang ngoni sangji ngotong ge teba ju na lama tanda country tina shin gomna chilap chaya song ta di kunjin chen bu song sha te lam di kansa ngarang yapshin nang le na chigdu ngo tin du kang ta ngarang zo lama la chidang ge mi ge tokpa shu do gon lama la nyam trok yul ke na tini jingurun bo che do tin je sangje changju sembi ge nam dul teni gomba ina tini tiri ngarang zo la namdo dugu miki wata chilab jugi lama la tepa khalewa yakbo chi ngone tingcha wa lama tanda kanji ji shel go tinang shin jene gom gorte ngarang so ladub so na la ten khaji na lama khorang do kangshar gi lama ladub de khong lama khorang na ba na shin ji ngarang so thomi gi tini tanda rana tunji omin chem na sa gi ti ladub ti gurur kansa dunjum koma kor ke ba la ti dang la la chak ba phur nam de ge ku ta yal ching ting ji do.
Sorry. We can meditate on. Okay, I'll try and sum up. Sorry, the microphone was off. So, when we take devotional prayer on the path, the objects of our prayer are those who show us the greatest kindness, namely the teachers who bestow us empowerment, transmission, and pith instruction. We can therefore meditate on them in any form. So, as Longchenpa explains in his Yapshi teachings, if we have pure perception, the pure perception that sees our personal guru as the Buddha, then it's actually more blessed, more powerful to visualize them in their ordinary form. And indeed, in many gurus, many teachers' personal guru yogas, we're instructed to visualize them that is their ordinary form. So if you do have that perception, then it's actually more powerful to just visualize the guru as they are. So Rinpoche told some stories to that, and students who were really able, like a disciple of Seto Rinpoche who really had that devotion, it seems. But for such practitioners, then there's no doubt that at the time of death they will merge inseparably with their guru. But for most of us, most of us don't have that strength of devotion and pure perception, right? We sometimes have wrong view or strange ideas about our teacher. We see faults in them. We don't really have we're not really convinced that they are the Buddha in person. So in that case, then we can take a different approach, visualizing the Guru as Guru Rinpoche or an enlightened form. And there's a lot of benefit to that. There are many reasons for visualizing the Guru as Guru Rinpoche. Thinking, this is my teacher in the form of Guru Rinpoche. This is Guru Rinpoche who is in essence my Guru. Because it is not actually easy to come to see the Guru as Buddha in person. Developing just that level of pure perception is not easy. So there's a lot of benefit in visualizing the practicing in skillful ways like this. In a lot of Westerners and modern students, they might kind of grasp things on a conceptual level, or think something is really easy to understand, and then talk about things really kind of loosely, casually, as if they're really easy to understand. And they end up actually, instead of first understanding Guru Rinpoche as the Nirmanakaya, and then as the Sambhogakaya, and then as the Dhammakaya, sort of ascending to ever higher levels, they end up, there's the danger that one ends up actually kind of descending instead of ascending. So bringing Guru Rinpoche down to the level of a human being. You think you've understood the point, what's meant, but you end up just bringing the Guru down to the ordinary human level. The blessings will not come from that. So if you receive Guru Rinpoche, when we say visualize Guru Rinpoche, visualize the teacher as Guru Rinpoche, well, if you perceive Guru Rinpoche as the Sambhogakaya, as the Dhammakaya, then the blessings of that those enlightened forms will enter you, right? But if your idea of Guru Rinpoche is an ordinary human being, then no blessings will come from that, right? No blessings will come from meditating on an ordinary human being. So if we visualize our teacher in the form of the second Buddha, all unfavorable circumstances and obstacles on the path will naturally be dispelled, and we'll accomplish the twofold goal in accordance with our wishes. So now we have the words of Uttaki Shitsogel, who speaks of this most essential and profound point as follows. The lotus born as your predestined teacher, people of Tibet. So, firstly, because Guru Rinpoche showed the great kindness of coming to Tibet. Secondly, because all of the teachings we receive from our teachers, they all stem from Guru Rinpoche. The transmission of these teachings comes from Guru Rinpoche. So, to accomplish Guru Rinpoche, you should strive, perceiving your own teacher in the form of Padma. As Guru Rinpoche said, in front of each person who has faith stands Guru Rinpoche. For each person who has faith, Guru Rinpoche is right at your door, right at your pillow. I have not gone anywhere. For those who have faith, I have not gone anywhere. These are the testaments of Guru Rinpoche himself. He said, for those who have faith, I haven't gone anywhere. I am right here, right before you, if you have faith. So, the heart of Guru Rinpoche, the essence of Guru Rinpoche, is none other than self-arisen wisdom, right? Like in some of the prayers of Guru Rinpoche, by Guru Rinpoche, 700 prayers and so on. So they speak of Guru Rinpoche as the king of great bliss, namely primordial wisdom itself. In essence, that is Guru Rinpoche. All of the major treasure revealers reveal cycles of Lazok Tuksum, so of the Guru, the great perfection, and the great compassionate one. Practice the teacher's mind. So here the teacher's mind refers to that cycle of, from Lazok Tuksum, the cycle of the Guru. Sorry, any one of the cycle of teachings for accomplishing the Guru that are always present in the treasure revelations of the great Gurus. If you practice this, I promise you cannot but accomplish Buddha in one life. These are the words of Khandre Shitsogyal. So, for the people of Tibet, because of their karmic connection with Guru Rinpoche and the strength of his aspirations, there is no Buddha of greater blessings than Guru Rinpoche. So it says here, by virtue of my special prayers of aspiration, Guru Rinpoche's special prayers of aspiration, then my compassion is swifter than that of other Buddhas. So because of these causes and conditions, it says cause and effect being connected, then my compassion, the compassion of me, Guru Rinpoche, is swifter than that of all other Buddhas. All of the great masters and accomplished beings who have graced the land of Tibet with their presence, Tibet and even further, they are all emanations of Guru Rinpoche. So it said all of the great Dharma kings and masters that will appear in the future, masters and so on, Panditas as well, who will appear in the future, they are all emanations of the Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche said that right. So he is the source and wellspring for all of these great beings. Pray with tears welling up in your eyes. If you pray to Guru Rinpoche wholeheartedly, with overwhelming faith, blessings will flow, blessings will flood you. So sometimes when making salt offerings and the like, sometimes you might feel like your hair is standing on end, or a special sense of clarity or inspiration during the descent of blessings or when making salt offerings and so on. These are signs of Guru Rinpoche's presence and his blessings entering you. When experiences blaze and blessings descend, so this does happen for some people. So your perception changes, tears well up in your eyes, your hair stands on end, and your state of mind, your perception is not as it usually is. It changes, it transforms in some way. These are signs of the blessings descending, signs that I have come in person, that Guru Rinpoche is present before you. And we see also in the instance in the life stories of the great treasure revealers and masters, signs of amazing blessings occurring, like the Amrita on the shrine bubbling over, the Amrita overflowing, and so on and so forth. Countless stories like this. Now as I depart to the land of ogres, I make a promise that on every 10th day of the month, the lunar month, so he promised that on every 10th day of the lunar month, I myself will come to them. So the 10th day of the lunar month is Guru Rinpoche Day. Patrul Rinpoche wrote a text explaining the benefits of the Guru Rinpoche Day, the 10th day, relating it to the enlightened activities of the 8 emanations of Guru Rinpoche. So all of those major activities, major deeds Guru Rinpoche performed, he performed on the 10th lunar day of the month. So it's a really holy day. It marks all of the major deeds of Guru Rinpoche in all of his various forms. And Guru Rinpoche's blessings are said to be so swift. Patrul Rinpoche says Guru Rinpoche's blessings are so swift that if someone is building a Guru Rinpoche statue, even when they're just beginning to build a statue, like gathering the clay to mold the statue, Guru Rinpoche has already seen that from the land of Rakshas where he abides, and at that moment he sets out to bestow his blessings on that statue. You can find these lines in Patrul Rinpoche's explanation of the 10th day, his praise or explanation of the 10th day, which I'm sure is available on Lotsawa House. The lotus born lets no one down. So this is about different meanings of some of the language in the kind of the nuanced meaning of the language in this in these lines from Ratnalingpa, these lines we're going through. So, page 240. Even abandoned in cyclic existence, I'll be responsible for you. So a bit like in a mundane sense, where if you buy something and you're given like a warranty and a guarantee, they're slightly different, but it's like anyway, Guru Rinpoche is saying, I will be responsible for you. I guarantee. So he's giving us a guarantee. Trust me wholeheartedly with body, speech and mind, with heart and soul. Guru Rinpoche's mind is vast as space. So that the earth could be destroyed, our water could be dried up, even the space can be destroyed, but there's no way to destroy primordial wisdom, the natural state. So Guru Rinpoche likewise is immutable like this. So I'm beyond coming and going. Beyond coming and going, like space, we could say, immutable and unchanging. Yet relatively, for those with habitual dualistic perceptions, I dwell in a celestial sphere. Those who are obscured by habit and dualistic perception, I dwell in a palace. Because their bodies aren't purified, they won't see me. So relatively, I dwell in a celestial sphere. Nevertheless, those who are not yet purified, they won't see me. However, when you then apply yourself to the path, and through the 2 stages and so on, you purify your obscurations, purify your misdeeds, then you will be able to see Guru Rinpoche, see him directly in person, just like we can see from the stories of so many masters. By purifying their minds, purifying their beings, then they were able to visit the glorious copper-colored mountain, to see Guru Rinpoche in person, to have conversations with him. But this is not like this person in Taiwan who said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I arrived here late today because I was having a coffee with Guru Rinpoche in the local cafe." That's just what a presumptuous thing to say. But that said, Mahasiddhas, Gyatso Druptop, one Mahasiddha, it seems there are Mahasiddhas who have this kind of perception, this kind of experience. So this was in Serta, very far east of Tibet. It's like minus 30 or 40 Celsius. And freezing even in the summer. And he would be live almost naked, or like with a bare chest, winter and summer, even in these extreme temperatures. And he lived in some flimsy hut filled with, I think maybe she said filled with ashes or something. Anyway, a very simple kind of flimsy hut. People would come to see him and ask him for divinations and prophecies and so on. Then he would speak from inside his hut. So people would sit outside his hut or his cave and address him from outside and say, can you tell me what's going to happen with this or that, or give me a divination? And then he would reply from inside. So it was like this voice just coming out of the mouth of the cave, and he gave the most amazing prophecies and divinations. Famous prophecies. There's some amazing stories about this master. There's some people from Serta here who will be very familiar with all the stories about this master. Anyway, some of them you just wouldn't believe if you heard them. So anyway, this stemmed from, they will see me, Padma, in person, be able to converse with me in words. Even practitioners still on the path will meet me in experiences and in dreams. So in like meditative experiences and in dreams as well. It's possible to see Guru Rinpoche. In the past, when Dilgi Khyentse Rinpoche transmitted the Yapshi, Longchenpa's Yapshi, someone said, some ridiculously skeptical person, when they heard about this, said, Dilgi Khyentse Rinpoche is giving those transmissions. Is he really up to that? Is that really allowed? What an outrageous thing to say. But anyway. So this person actually, so when Dilgi Khyentse Rinpoche heard that someone had questioned his ability or his right to give those empowerments, those transmissions of Longchenpa. He said, "Oh, it's really true. Someone like me, it's not for me to give these transmissions. I'm not qualified." But Longchenpa, he appeared to me, and he himself told me, "Give these teachings, my son." And so, even though I'm not up to it, because Longchenpa told me, I'm giving them. So this is what's meant by, that's a case of seeing Guru Rimshe, or in this case Longchenpa, in a meditative experience. So still we consider Rimshe had direct visions of Longchenpa, and visions that he actually wrote about. He wrote down that he recorded in words. Likewise, Dujun Limpa, Dujun Rimshe, these masters have had direct visions of Gyawa Longchenpa. So this is to say that one can meet the Guru in experiences and in dreams. So just about language, pure vision would equate with an experience, a meditative experience. So whether it be Dujun Rimshe, in his calling the Guru from afar, he says, well, Dujun Rimshe speaks to the same thing. The Guru is Guru Rimshe, or likewise Vajrasattva, whoever, in essence they are none other than primordial wisdom, right? Self-arisen primordial wisdom. And Dujun Rimpa speaks to this in his beautiful Calling the Guru from Afar, when he speaks about the uncontrived Guru. So reading through the rest of this quote on page 240 now, page 241, for us red-faced people born in the dark kingdom, the one who's much kinder than other Buddhas is Guru Rimshe. Pray to him and he will embrace you. He's promised that he will constantly guide and bless us, and he will never let us down. So in Tibet, 100 major tertons appeared. All of those tertons, these treasure revealers, were emanations of Guru Rimshe. So there's a lot of talk about tertons, treasure readers in Tibet. Nipa Rinpoche himself gave a bit of a scolding to the treasure revealers. As had earlier masters who said there's no need for new treasure revealers. We already have everything we need. So Nipa Rinpoche criticized a bit this treasure revealers and this I think all the treasure teachings being regarded as more special than the teachings already existing, teachers of the great masters of the past and so on. And then he clarified what a genuine treasure, the qualities a genuine treasure teaching should have, how it must be perfectly in line with Guru Rinpoche's existing teachings and so on. One time I brought this kind of discussion up in Ngondro Rinpoche's presence, questioning the validity of some of the treasure revealers. Ngondro Rinpoche, he would not hear it at all. He pointed his index finger out, and his index finger was always crooked, it didn't point straight like ours. He pointed it right at my head, jabbed me and said, "Those tartans, they are Guru Rinpoche in the flesh, they are Guru Rinpoche in the flesh," okay? Like he was really impassioned about it. Actually, Ngondro Rinpoche himself was a treasure revealer, right? So the treasure revealers and the teachings of the treasure revealers are extraordinarily blessed. They are exceptionally potent, powerful, with fresh blessings, these fresh revelations. That said, if a lot of treasure texts are revealed, treasure teachings are revealed, but we can't put them into practice, then not much benefit will come from that, right? If you just have a wealth of treasure teachings that no one can practice. That promise, so Guru Rinpoche promised he'll constantly guide and bless us, and he'll never let us down. That promise is a profound commitment made with his diamond speech, so pledge yourself to him with total conviction and heartfelt confidence. Without doubt, as for instance the Sambalandra prayer reads, "Supplicate me, pray to me without doubt. Pray to me wholeheartedly without a shred of doubt." So this is the crucial point, right? Supplicating without doubt, supplicating with a one-pointed devotion, not two-pointed devotion, which meaning like with doubt and hesitation, not like praying to Guru Rinpoche on the one hand and Ram and Sai Baba or what have you on the other hand. You need to have complete devotion to Guru Rinpoche when you supplicate. Just one-pointed devotion, giving it your all. So if we feel like, nothing much comes from, I think in short Rinpoche said, if we feel like nothing much comes from praying to Guru Rinpoche or blessings aren't so strong, well, that's because we lack faith, right? You're praying it like, you're not praying wholeheartedly. Once I had this dream. We also talk about hidden lands, right? Secret lands. There's talk of secret lands, hidden valleys in the text. Once I had a dream of discovering this kind of hidden land. I just kind of followed it. It's like I just followed this path around a hillside and just through a little narrow path, and then suddenly I found myself in this vast open valley full of wonderful kind of instruments and riches and open pastures. And I thought, wow, this is what's meant by a hidden valley. It was right there all along. You just didn't know how to get to it. So this is what is meant by a secret land. Well, our basic nature of mind, intrinsic nature is a hidden land, right? It's right there, and we just haven't found out how to get there. So we think about when we go to sleep, when we start to dream. We're lying in bed, the blanket's over our head, the room is dark, eyes are closed. We're not seeing anything, and yet dreams, in our dream, all sorts of things appear, right? The sun shines, vast landscapes appear. It's a creation, projection of the mind, right? So likewise, a hidden land, just like everything else, is a projection of the mind. So Pure Lands are the same, right? As it said, one's perception purified, one's personal perception purified, is the Pure Land. Like in the prayers to take rebirth in glorious copper-colored Pure Land, these prayers mention the purification of one's own mind. When one's own mind, when one's own perception is purified, then the pure realm appears. We don't see the pure realm at present because our perception is obscured. So anyway, this experience I had gave me some faith or belief in these so-called hidden lands. Okay, so we'll have to leave it here for today, even though we haven't got through as many pages as we need to. We might have to end up extending the teaching by one day. Let's see. So pledge yourself to Him with total conviction and heartfelt confidence. We'll leave it here for today. Now we dedicate the merit.